to the instructional video for the Hardwood Mills blade sharpener. Jeff will be demonstrating how to assemble, calibrate and use it. The equipment you will need to build your sharpener are two 10mm spanners and two 13mm spanners, or two adjustable wrenches, safety gloves, safety glasses, a permanent marker, a knife and hearing protection. When you receive your sharpener, you will receive a chainsaw sharpening attachment, the sharpening head, two blades, various handles needed for the operation, a manual for the head itself, a dressing stone, sharpening stone gauge and two Allen keys. We also sell spare blades that can be purchased at any time. The Australian-made sharpening jig body, the outriggers and the tracking arm. Begin constructing the sharpening head by flipping it over and removing the safety guard. Use an Allen key and moving it anti-clockwise, unscrew the locking flange. Open the blade box up and remove one of the blades. Place the blade on the axle and secure the flange back in place over it. To secure it, you must turn the Allen key clockwise. To ensure it's tightened enough, place the other Allen key through the back as shown to hold the axle still whilst you are doing the final turns. Test that the blade spins freely without catching and place the safety guard back on. Flip the head back over and remove the handles from their bag. Secure the long handle onto the front of the sharpening head in the hole that is just above the clear plastic guard as shown. Place the bolt for the circular handle into the hole at the base of the sharpening head so it sticks out away from the head as shown. Holding the bolt in place, bring the head to the jig and place the bolt through the horizontal slot and secure the handle on. Next, retrieve the tracking arm and secure it onto the top hole located at the front of the jig. There is a bolt attached to the tracking arm that needs to be unscrewed, and you use this bolt to secure it to the jig. To ensure that it is secured properly, use your 13mm spanners or adjustable wrenches to tighten. It needs to be loose enough so it moves freely without sticking, but tight enough so it doesn't wobble. After the tracking arm is attached, move on to the outriggers. Unscrew the bolts located at the back of the jig and ensuring the bolts are still attached to the jig, thread them through the holes located at the bottom of each outrigger. The concave surface at the end of each outrigger should face towards the floor, with the pins pointing towards the sky. Make sure to tighten the bolts so the outriggers are able to move slightly. To protect the outriggers in travel, they come collapsed. This makes them too short to hold the blade correctly. To lengthen them, unscrew both silver bolts with the butterfly nuts and extend the inner arm away from the jig. There are 3 slots in the inner arm. For the best results, we recommend securing the bolts into the 3rd slot. You may need to adjust the distance once the blade is in place. Your sharpener is now ready for blade calibration. Make sure you are wearing safety gloves before handling any blade. To calibrate the sharpener, place a new and unused blade so it is sitting in the jaws and on top of the height adjustment blocks located on either side. The blade needs to be level with the bottom of the gullet sitting flush with the jig. To adjust the blocks and level the blade, simply loosen their bolts and move them up and down. Again, the bottom of the gullet needs to sit flush with the jig as shown. Do not have the leading edge of the blade facing away from the arm. Ensure that that edge is facing towards the arm. Once your blade is level, the sharpening head's height and angle need to be adjusted. First, adjust the height. To do this, move the head close to the blade. Tighten or loosen the adjustment bolt accordingly so that the bottom of the blade almost touches the bottom of the gullet. To adjust the angle, loosen the round handle at the back of the jig and move the head so the sharpener blade lines up perfectly with the leading edge of the cutting tooth. Make sure to secure the round handle again so it keeps the correct position. The tracking arm then needs to be adjusted so the blade slides down the leading edge of every tooth. Tighten or loosen the bolt as shown and test that the sharpening blade is correctly lined up. You may need to move the blade with the tracking arm a few times to ensure this. Once the ideal position has been achieved, secure the nylon locking nut so the bolt doesn't move. You are now ready to sharpen. Loosen the jaws and remove the unused blade and replace it with the blade to be sharpened. Once you have secured it in place and tightened it in the jaws, it then needs to be supported by the outriggers. This is when you can fine-tune the adjustment of them if needed. Before you begin, ensure you are wearing protective eyewear and hearing protection. Then mark the tooth in which you have started to keep track of where you are up to. Plug the head in, turn it on and begin. Use the tracking arm to push the blade along so each tooth gets sharpened. Continue until the tooth you have marked has come back around to the front. Remember, when operating the sharpener, always ensure you are wearing the appropriate protective eyewear and hearing protection. And when handling any blade, whether blunt or sharpened, safety gloves should always be worn.